Hey, so I want to talk a little bit about some unfortunate truths in life, uh, and that is, if you've been out experiencing the world, there have been some negative things that have happened to you that probably will change you forever, and you're gonna experience more in the future. Unfortunately, sorry, you can't always affect that. You can't always avoid that, but you can affect how you move forward. And that's really what I want to talk about is you have an option in anything that happens to be either a survivor or a victim. Now, this is an option in things totally like all throughout your day, no matter how big or small. But the larger the thing is, I think the more impactful this demeanor of survivor or victim becomes. You can get cut off in traffic and you know lose your mind, let it totally ruin your day and be a victim. How can this person do it? Blah blah blah. Or you can just whatever, blow it off, let it go, survive the situation, go on with your day. Or it could be a lot worse. It could be a really negative emotional situation that you went through, so emotional abuse, some sort of physical abuse. It could be any number of things that have a negative impact on your life, and you have to decide: are you going to be a survivor or a victim? So through any of these situations, maybe not the getting cut off in traffic, but the larger trauma in life, for a little bit, we're all going to be a victim because it's going to hurt and it's something that just happened. You're going to have this wound for a little bit and you have to tend to that. So there may be a grieving period if it's a loss, or maybe there's a physical healing period that you need to go through, or this a bit of an emotional, you're having to come to terms with what happened to you, whatever it may be. But then once we have the healing take place, and this healing may go on for years, but eventually we get to a point where we are either a survivor or a victim. So the survivor eventually has scars. They have the battle wounds of what they went through because it's healed. It's left a permanent mark, but it's not something that's affecting them every day. Maybe just like a scar on your body, maybe every once in a while you do something and you look and see, oh yeah, I recall that, but I got through it. And this scar is not affecting me every day. See it every once in a while. I remember it every once in a while. It brings maybe back a negative memory of the initial trauma, but it's not dictating who I am. Now the victim keeps this open wound. That healing never really occurs. The wound stays open and it festers. It gets infected. It gets worse maybe than ever when it actually started, when the initial trauma happened. It gets worse and worse and eventually can become all-encompassing for this person. Just like a physical wound, these emotional and mental wounds can do the same thing. This infection, this kind of thing grows on you and it becomes who you are. It's what you identify as. You identify as this victim. You're not a person anymore. You are the thing that happened to you. That's not a great place to be. It doesn't serve you well. You can't move forward. You're anchored down by this negative experience. We don't get to decide the things that happen to us in life, but we get to decide how we're going to handle them. And if this is how you handle it, your life essentially is stopping. Your progression in life, you've decided to stop it because you can't overcome this one situation. And then it becomes an excuse. Say, for instance, this trauma was something that happened to you in a relationship, or maybe it was the entire relationship. You got out of it and went, oh my gosh, I never realized how crazy that was until I got out of it. And then you kind of get mired down in that. And if you become the victim, maybe the survivor says, okay, well, I learned these were red flags in the relationship. This is stuff that I need to avoid in the future, but I'm not going to never try to love someone again. I'm not going to quit talking to people entirely because it may happen to me again. Because I guarantee you, some of us get lucky and I find somebody early on. But if you have a negative relationship, you're probably going to have more. It's just the way it is. There's a lot of people out there and a lot of them don't mesh. So to learn, hey, these are things that this doesn't work for me. These are my warning signs, stuff I need to stay away from. Because you survived that situation, you learned. You became a more mature person in your relationships. But a victim might see this and go, I'm swearing it off. I'm now identifying as this thing that happened to me, and I'm going to be victimized by it, and I'm not going to approach people anymore because I'm afraid of being hurt. I'm still living in this victim role. It's now become an excuse. Yeah, I'd love to be happy. I'd love to meet somebody, but this past relationship has just messed me up so bad, I can't ever trust anyone ever again. Well, now you're a victim of the situation, and you continue to be that because you don't let the wound heal. You don't get the scar. You have this open wound, and any time that you try to interact with somebody, it's immediately brought back up. Now, some people are doing this, and like I said, it's not just relationships, it's a lot of things in life that this may happen with, but people get to a point, that's how they identify. I am the person that this happened to. I'm the person that went through this trauma. And then you kind of garner this attention, you get this sympathy from it. And some people get really caught up in that. That, like I said, it's who they identify as, and they get this attention for it. But, for some people, negative attention is better than no attention at all. So they're not willing to give that up, because healing and becoming that survivor means they have to give up this attention that they're getting, this sympathy that they're getting for this negative thing. That attention feels good right now, but in the long run, they can never move past this one point, this point of this negative situation. So they get this instant gratification, but they're never really getting any growth as a person, as whatever arena of their life it is that it's affecting. They don't grow from there. They just get this little hit of sympathy or this little hit of attention, but that wears thin with people. And eventually, you're not going to get that sympathy anymore. People are going to be tired of hearing it. They don't want to keep dealing with that. And you may have to get to the point where you decide moving forward means I'm going to have to cut this anchor loose. I'm going to have to cut this victim mentality loose for me to move forward, which is scary sometimes. Because if this is what you've identified as this victim, to cut that loose means now you don't have this excuse anymore for why you can't get the job, why you can't be successful, why you can't find a relationship, why you can't do that, whatever it is, why you can't get the grades. If it's always been, well, this thing happened to me, or because of this, I can't study, because of this, I can't get this job, everybody's out to get me, that's why I haven't been promoted, that's why I can't get these jobs, whatever it may be, you got to cut that loose. You have to cut that excuse loose, and now you got to make something of yourself because there's no more excuse. So now you actually have to become something, which is scary, but in the long run will be fulfilling. It won't be that little hit of sympathy or that little hit of attention anymore. It'll be real growth. You'll actually become someone you want to be rather than being that victim. Now you're a survivor. Whatever that thing was that held you back forever ago, that was your excuse. Now you survived that. And so instead of saying, well, I can't move forward because I went through this thing and it's held me back from these relationships, these jobs, whatever it may be, now you can say, in spite of the fact that this happened to me, I am happy. I'm in a happy relationship. Or I'm happy by myself. It doesn't have to be in a relationship. I'm happy with myself now. I've been able to do that. I don't have to stay in this. I don't identify as this victim anymore. I'm happy with me. Or, you know what? In spite of that thing that happened, I did go out and get the job I've always wanted. It took a lot to get there. It was tough. I had to work hard for it, but I got it. Or, I am getting the grades I want now. Whatever it may be, you survive and you move on past it in spite of that negative thing that happened. So, to kind of break all of that down, make it real concise, the survivor has a reason why they can. It's the thing that happened to them that made them grow. It made them mature. It made them stronger. It made them maybe watch out for similar situations coming up where they can go, hey, you know what, I've seen this before. I know it ended poorly. They've got a little life knowledge now, so they can stay away from that. It hurt because growth comes from suffering. That initial suffering was created this new knowledge, this new maturity, whatever. So it was tough then, but it's the fastest way to learn. So they have a reason why I can. It's that growth, it's that new knowledge. It's the reason that they're going to be better now. Whereas the victim has an excuse why I can't. Because two people that face the same situation could handle it entirely different, which means there has to be alternatives. So that excuse why I can't, for somebody saying, yeah, well, this thing happened and now I can't move forward. Instead of them saying, I'm afraid to move forward. It's scary to me because now I have to identify something else. I have to actually be strong. I actually have to persevere. And that's going to take some effort. And there's going to be a period there where I lose that sympathy and that identity of a victim that I've had, and then I'm going to create my own. There's this gap between this victim identity and becoming this person that you really, hopefully deep down inside you that you really want to be. Because I don't think, if people really examine it, they don't want to be a victim forever. It doesn't serve you well, and it's extremely short-sighted. So, it might be tough, and you might need help, and don't be afraid to ask for it. There's a lot of people out there. And that's why I want to encourage survivors to share their stories, because I guarantee you there are people out there that maybe right now are going through the same situation that you survived, and your story might be encouraging to them. Yeah, or maybe not only encouraging, it might help give them the tools they need to move forward, the resources, or maybe just being there to talk and for them to bounce ideas off of and say, hey, I'm really having a hard time here. I'm feeling really kind of in a rut. I can't get past this. You survived it. So maybe you can say, hey, I was there. I'm gonna help pull you out. I'm gonna help heal this wound with you. We're gonna be survivors together because you're already there and they just need to be brought up to where they need the extra help to get up to speed to become that survivor. So I will encourage you to share your stories. However, if it's something really private, that's totally up to you, what you want to disclose. But share in the comments here, share it at myrightthing.com, send them straight to me at brooks@myrightthing, brooks@myrightthing.com. Wherever you see this video, share your story because I think that's really powerful. It's easy for people, and that might sometimes contribute to that victim role of feeling I'm the only one that's ever gone through this, which with the amount of people in the world, I can guarantee you that's almost never the case. There's been somebody else that is going through it now or has gone through it before and survived it. So like I say, share those stories, but really, really think about this. You can't decide what happens to you in life, but you can decide how you handle it, and that can be what defines you. So keep that in mind. I really hope to see some people sharing their stories. It's always motivating, even if you're not going through the same situation, to hear these survivor stories from people, and you can be it can kind of recharge your batteries, even to maybe look at things and go, this really isn't that bad. I can move forward from this. So share your stories, survivor stories. Love to hear them. If you are the victim, if you are the eternal victim, and that's what you identify as, get in contact with some people in the community. Let's see if maybe we can help you move forward and make it a little easier when you have to bridge that gap from the victim identity to being who you're going to be. Because like I said, there's going to be a little space there that might be tough. It's confusing. You're not getting that attention anymore for the sympathy, and now you've got to drop all those excuses, because if you have the excuses, you're never going to be able to move forward. So like I said, share with the community, reach out to us, reach out to me, whoever you can find, your friends, your family. Let's help make the world a better place by doing some of this stuff. As always, remember to do the right thing. Thanks for watching.